Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. Got a video today from Finality.
What if I told you the incel problem isn't what you think it is? Everyone blames Andrew Tate. Everyone blames podcasts.
It's funny. You see dating profiles a lot. It's I'm looking at provider man, and also if you listen to male dating podcasts, don't date me or don't match.
Everyone blames toxic masculinity. They're all wrong. Gen Z men aren't being radicalized by some shadowy influence campaign. They're responding to something real, something measurable, something that's been building for years. And the scariest part? We saw it coming. 63% of men under 30 are single. That's the new normal.
Yep.
This isn't about dating apps.
How do you find love? Now for many, that search starts online.
It's not about feminism.
If they don't offer you a seat at the table, you bring a folding chair. I think we're tired of bringing our own folding chairs.
It's not even really about women. It's about what happens when an entire generation of young men grows up feeling invisible. When loneliness becomes an identity. When the internet gives you a vocabulary for your pain.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on with the vocabularies out there, special words. I didn't even know about this sub-5 male thing. Okay.
The incelification of Gen Z didn't start on Reddit. It didn't start with Elliot Rodger. It started the moment we stopped asking a simple question. What happens to boys who never feel wanted? Because what I'm about to show you will change how you see everything. Here's what the media wants you to believe. Young men are being radicalized by Andrew Tate, by Jordan Peterson, by misogynistic podcasters with millions of followers. Ban influencers, problem solved. Except it's not solved. It's getting worse.
Correct.
Because they've got the causation backwards.
Like, we aren't the cause. We are just radiating the voices of many men that are frustrated.
These guys aren't lonely because they watch Tate. They watch Tate because they're lonely. The
Correct.
influencers didn't create the crisis. They're profiting from it.
Georgiana?
Is that your maid?
No, it's a masseuse. Georgiana, can you bring my sunglasses, please? I don't know where they are.
Yo!
Think about it. If you removed every Red Pill podcast tomorrow, would young men suddenly stop being isolated?
No.
Would they magically have friends again?
No.
Would the loneliness disappear? No. The audience would just find someone else, because the demand is real. We spent decades building a world that's terrible for human connection. Social media replaced real friendships. Dating apps turned relationships into a marketplace. Adult websites became the default. Community institutions collapsed. Boys grew up more isolated than any generation in history.
I mean, when I was growing up, corn was a thing, right? But I actually had to go get like a Hustler magazine, or not get Hustler, but like find a way to get a Hustler magazine or some kind of Playboy or something. It wasn't so accessible. Now, kids get these things, what, at 5, 6, maybe even 3 years old? And if you don't have any parental locks on that stuff, they have access to all of it immediately. I can't imagine my little lizard brain at that young watching corn at that massive amounts of access. Yeah, that would screw my brain up too.
Then we handed them phones at age 10. By the time they hit 18, many of them had never asked someone out in person, never been to a party, never had a real conversation with a girl. The stats back this up.
I mean, I was actually part of the statistics. I never really went to parties when I was in high school. I think I approached 2 girls and I got rejected both times. And I never dated and never approached another woman again in high school. I didn't start dating again, or I didn't actually date someone until I was like 18 or 19 when I was in college. So yeah, the 2 rejections in high school really got me.
Gen Z has less intimacy than any generation since we started tracking. Fewer relationships, fewer friends, more time alone. And when you're 22 years old, invisible to everyone around you, watching your peers couple up while you eat dinner alone every night, you're gonna look for answers. The manosphere doesn't brainwash these guys. It gives them a framework for pain they already feel. You can't fight an ideology by attacking the influences. You have to address why the message resonates in the first place.
True.
Here's what the data actually shows. 1 in 4 young men report having 0 close friends.
25% have 0 close friends. That's a problem.
0. Not a few acquaintances, not work buddies, literally no one. That number has tripled since 1990. 30% of men under 30 haven't had intercourse in the past year. Compare that to women, only 19%. The gender gap is widening, fast.
I have not interacted with a female that is not related to me in over 3 years.
And before you say, well, they're just lazy, or they need to try harder, let me just stop you right there. Because that's exactly what everyone said 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The numbers kept climbing anyway. Young men today spend more time alone than any generation in recorded history. More time in their rooms, more time online, more time in their own heads.
I mean, it was kind of built that way. Porn and video games gave men pretty much everything they needed when it comes to dopamine and, you know, like value incentives in their brains, you know, because women aren't there anymore.
The pandemic made it worse, but it didn't create the problem. It just accelerated what was already happening. When researchers ask these men how they feel, the word that comes up most often isn't angry, it's not entitled, it's not even frustrated. It's invisible. They feel like ghosts in their own lives. Like they could disappear tomorrow and nobody would notice. Like they're watching everyone else live through a screen. And when you feel invisible enough, you start looking for explanations. You start looking for reasons. You start looking for someone to blame. That's when the internet steps in. Nobody wakes up and decides to become an incel. It doesn't work like that. It starts with a joke, a meme, something that makes you laugh because it hits too close to home.
True.
Nobody texts me first. Girls only want tall guys. I'm too ugly for dating apps. Relatable, right? Harmless
Sure.
even. But here's the thing about memes. They're not just jokes. They're tiny packets of ideology disguised as humor.
Slight truths to them too.
You laugh at one, the algorithm shows you 10 more, then 100. Then your entire feed is just variations of the same message. You're losing, other guys are winning. The game is rigged. TikTok calls it getting blackpilled. It's when you stop seeing these memes as jokes and start seeing them as truth. The transition is seamless, invisible almost. One day you're watching gym content and self-improvement videos. The next day the algorithm is feeding you Looksmaxxing tutorials and hypergamy explainers. You don't even realize you've crossed a line. Because the internet doesn't radicalize you with manifestos anymore. It does it with relatability.
It's a freaking algorithm. It's so, you know what? You know, it's funny because I started my TikTok, or like when I first started my TikTok, I accidentally looked at like an Arabic video for a little bit too long. And then from then on, all of my videos became in Arabic. And I was just like, how do I change this algorithm back into English? I can't understand any of these videos. Because I was looking for videos like to do content on. And that's why I don't really use TikTok too much, because their algorithm pissed me off. Like, I made quite a few accounts and they all were just not what I needed to curate for this channel. So again, weird.
With
Freaking
community,
algorithms.
with the feeling that someone finally gets it. Reddit boards, Discord servers, Telegram groups. These spaces don't feel dangerous when you first join. They feel like support groups.
Sure.
Like the only place where
I get
people
where he's going.
understand what you're going through. Then the vocabulary changes. Dating is hard becomes women are hypergamous. I'm struggling becomes it's over for sub-5 males. I feel lonely becomes society hates men.
I see where this is going. I see where he's going with this.
The shift happens word by word, meme by meme. And the most insidious part? It all started with something true. Young men are struggling. Loneliness is real. The dating market has changed. But truth mixed with poison is still poison. By the time you realize what's happened, you're already speaking a different language. seeing the world through a different lens.
He's not wrong. I speak quite a different language. I use the red pill, manospheric vocabulary all the time.
And everyone outside that bubble looks like the enemy. Looksmaxxing sounds innocent enough. It's just self-improvement, right? Hit the gym, fix your skin, get a better haircut, level up your appearance. Millions of Gen Z guys are doing it. The hashtag has billions of views on TikTok. But here's what nobody tells you about Looksmaxxing. It doesn't start as self-improvement. It starts as self-hatred.
Oh.
The whole premise is, you're not good enough as you are. Your face is holding you back. Your jawline is your destiny. Your cantle tilt determines your worth. Yeah.
Okay, I get where he's... I understand that, but...
Cantle tilt, the angle of your eyes. There are guys measuring this with protractors. At first it seems productive. Work out, eat better, take care of yourself, good stuff. Then it escalates. Mewing, bone smashing, icing your face for hours, stretching your palate with medieval torture devices.
I can agree with him on a lot of these things, yes. Like the whole, leg surgery stuff and all that. I actually looked maxed a little bit. I just cared about my skin. That was the only thing I looked maxed on was like my skin. I wanted nice skin.
Some guys are getting risky surgeries in their early 20s. The message gets darker.
Wait, so they just widen their jaw? Oh, jeez.
No amount of personality can fix that ugly face. Women operate on pure biology. Attractiveness is a science.
See, he's not wrong, but he's also wrong, right? Yes, because the landscape has changed so much, it is a lot more on looks, and it is a lot more on those things. The personality back in the day, yes, can carry things pretty far. Because you actually got to know someone slowly, unlike just seeing profiles and constantly swiping left and right. So now everything is just based on a lot more on looks.
Not an opinion. This is where the slope gets slippery. Because Looksmaxxing spaces don't just teach you how to look better. They teach you that looks are everything. That human connection is transactional. That you're in competition with every other man. And when you've spent months obsessing over your appearance, when you've measured every millimeter of your face, when you've done everything right and still feel invisible, that's when the black pill really sinks in. I tried everything and it didn't work. Maybe they're right. Maybe it's genetics. Maybe it's over. Looksmaxxing promises control in a world that feels random.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. The cough.
But it actually does the opposite. It turns your self-worth into a number, your face into a prison. And once you see yourself that way...
I do agree with this. This actually really eliminates the nuances. The nuances of your personality, the nuances of your quirkiness, or just all of these other aspects of you. It gets thrown to the wayside because, everybody wants to be meta, right? The most effective tactic available.
It's hard to see anyone else as fully human either. Something unprecedented is happening with Gen Z. Women are organizing, finding community, building movements. They have language for their struggles, validation, support systems. Men are isolated, told to figure it out alone, told their problems aren't real problems. That complaining makes them weak. So they go online, and online tells them something different. Online tells them they're the real victims, that feminism went too far, that society has turned against them. Both sides think the other is insane. Both sides think the other is living in a different reality.
I can 100% agree with his take right here.
And they're both kind of right.
Yeah.
Because they're living in different realities now. Different apps, different content, different friend groups, different worlds. They're not...
Yeah, he's not wrong, is he? Now that I think about it, really think about it, the algorithm is the life that people are living. It's their social media platform that is feeding them everything, right? So if they've seen certain things or look at certain things, that is all they are bombarded with. So they just automatically assume the world is like this. It actually makes a lot more sense to me now that I've spoken with a lot more women, a lot more men, and watching this video. It's just, oh, it's the algorithms that are kind of shaping people's minds and shaping people in a certain way. It's crazy.
Not just politically divided, they're experientially separated.
Yes.
And when you
because
can't
of
even
the
agree on what
algorithms.
problems exist, when your basic perceptions of reality don't align, how do you date each other? How do you trust each other? You don't. Loneliness is a crisis, not a character flaw. Right now, the only people talking to these guys are leading them into darkness. The manosphere wins because it's the only place offering answers.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm leading them to darkness, but I want the men to protect themselves. That's the best way for men to do it, is probably stay away from a lot of women. Do I want them to have families and kids? I say it all the time. I promote it a lot. Like, go out there and have some families, guys. But juice ain't worth the squeeze. I mean, and I think we can admit that, at least, right?
Even if those answers are poison. We can do better. We have to.
You say we can do better, but you don't have a solution that is better. Nobody does. That's the problem. That's why I think a lot of men are in the boat that they are now, is because there isn't a better solution. The left has no solution for things. The right has no solution for things. The manosphere does. And it's not the best solution, I understand, but it's still a solution and something that's at least attainable to understand their circumstance. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And see you guys next time.